Hey guys, and welcome back to the Temple of Kung Fu. As always, I'm your host, the Shaolin Kid, and tonight's tale is Shaolin Wooden Men, starring Jackie Chan. Real Jackie Chan this time, not any Jackie exploitation shit. That as real Jackie Chan, and he doesn't talk throughout the entire film until the end of it. Spoilers, by the way, if you wanted to watch this movie that came out in 1976. Sorry if you couldn't get to it in time, but sorry to burst your bubble. But yeah, this movie is a revenge film, like every other kung fu movie, and you don't know that it's really a revenge film till the end, but it is revealed to be a revenge film at the end, and it's more of like an action-oriented kung fu film. I think it takes itself more seriously. I don't think it really has many comedic bits to it. I mean, it has comedic element, like has comedic parts, but it's not like a full-on comedy like some of Jackie's other films. This movie is a revenge film, like every other kung fu movie, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying, like fucking 70% of them. That's not an ultimatum. I'm just guessing here, just an estimation. But a lot of kung fu movies are revenge films. This one included. It doesn't reveal that to the end of the movie, but it is a revenge film. I enjoyed this film. Yeah, I like this movie, and I think it's good. It was interesting because there was a lot of good action scenes. There was a lot of training montages in this movie, like a lot of training, like more than the average kung fu film, in my opinion. I think there was more than the average kung fu film. Like every few scenes there was like a training scene, training montage of him like training and learning kung fu to take on the evil like murderer guy who was his master early on in the movie, who actually was the guy who ended up killing his dad. So Jackie Chan was like, you know what, because he was a mute throughout the entire film, except for the end, which I forgot to mention, but he was a mute. And then at the end of the movie, he was like, I am not a mute, I pretended, because I swore to never speak until I avenged my father, and that day is today. And he, like, he beat the shit out of the guy, out of the evil, his evil master guy. And actually, another thing about the master guy, I don't know if this has much. Actually, this has something to do with the movie. I know that kung fu movies have like 5 or 6 dubbers, in all of them. There's like 5 or 6 guys that do the dubbing, and they're like unanimous. But it's just really distracting, and how the guy who's doing the dubbing for the evil like villain is the same guy who did the dubbing for Jimmy Wang Yu in some of his movies. So it's just kind of weird because I listen to the dubs. I don't listen to the original audio. So it's just weird to me because I get that he doesn't just voice Wang Yu, but it's just, I don't know, it distracted me from the movie, kind of broke my immersion. And then he, after doing all that training, he ends up doing the trial of the Shaolin Wooden Men, which is the name of the movie, and he's like fighting, he's ducking, he's diving, he's punching, he's falling down, he's like crawling over the place, you know. And actually the Wooden Men are just like dudes in suits, just going. But it's pretty good. I like it. And eventually, when Jackie fights through all the Wooden Men, he gets to the end, and he's like the only person to be able to beat the Wooden Men, and it's like a big deal. And then he's getting trained by the old abbot and all that, and then, you know. But anyway, This also, there are like a lot of training montages in this movie. Also kind of reminds me of 36th Chamber of Shaolin. I've reviewed that movie before. And, yeah, it's pretty similar in the way that there's a lot of training montages in it. Which, I mean, they're not, I don't think they're really similar in plot, though. They're not really similar in plot. But they are similar in one thing, training. They love to train. They love to just... They love to do that. They like to do this. They do that sometimes. So basically, at the beginning of the movie, there's like this scene goes on for like 10 minutes. He's like fighting these guys with no dialogue. By the way, there's not dialogue till like 15 minutes into the movie. Like, it's really weird. And in this movie, he goes, and he's like fighting these old like monk guys. He's like fighting them, and he beats all of them. And then it's like, and then he fights the wooden men. Like, tries to beat the wooden men, and then he gets his ass beat, and then you hear a dog barking in the background. Then he wakes up, and it was a nightmare. And I don't know what the point of the dogs barking was. Like, it just seemed kind of weird to me. But then he wakes up, and he's like in this Shaolin school. And then he has to get these like tubs of water upstairs. And he does that, and then he starts chopping wood because he's lazy or whatever, because it took him forever. And then this drunk guy is like, you know what, I know, he talks to him, and the drunk teacher he's like using, I think he might be using the drunken fighting style. Honestly, I couldn't tell if he was just like a drunken idiot or if he actually knew kung fu. I couldn't really tell. He was like drunk the whole movie as well, pretty much. His character was like drunk the whole movie. And then another like running gag throughout the film is that Jackie Chan keeps stealing his wine to give it to like, he sneaks into the prison. He sneaks into a prison where he finds this guy chained up on the wall, and he befriends him, and he becomes his pupil. And he starts stealing the drunk monk's wine, and he starts giving it to him, and he starts giving him bread. Yeah, he steals his wine throughout the movie, and he gives it to the guy in the prison. And eventually the guy in the prison starts teaching him how to beat the wooden men. And it's like there's a bunch of training stuff. He's like, antics ensue. He's starting to get trained by this guy. He's teaching him different fighting styles. Then he meets this nun who we saw earlier in the movie, and she starts teaching him how to not use that guy's like violent kill murder style, and like using a self-defense kung fu style. And he kind of like merges the both of the styles by the end of the movie. And well, not really. He ends up like, he tries to do it, but then he has like the nun in his head being, don't do any vital organs, as he was about to like destroy his father's murderer's nutsack. He was but yeah, no vital, she says like, don't go for any vital organs like the kidney, the heart, the throat, the eyes, the other areas, and none like that. Like, do it for self-defense. Isn't that what she said? Like, also lightweight and all that shit. But yeah, he gets trained by actually a lot of people in this movie. He gets trained by the guy in the cellar. He gets trained by the nun, and then he gets trained by this blind abbot. He gets trained by him, and he blinded himself because he was so ashamed that his pupil started like murdering people, that he blinded himself, and he trained Jackie Chan. And the whole movie is basically like one big long training montage so that he can kill the bad evil master guy, who ends up being the guy, because actually earlier in the movie, like as the movie goes on, he's having like these flashbacks of his father getting killed by somebody, and it keeps going, and at the end of the movie it's revealed that the master that trained him at the beginning of the movie was actually his father's killer. And then Jackie Chan is like, I was not a mute, I was pretending, and you are my father's killer, and I swore that I would start, that I wouldn't speak until I killed my father's or like avenged my father or whatever. That he avenged his father, and then he's like, today is the day, and then he fights the evil master, aka his father's killer. And there was actually a scene that I didn't know what happened at first. I had to rewind it, where he's like, because Jackie Chan is getting tricked by the evil master. He's like, oh, I'm so proud of you, you're so good. You know, because Jackie Chan was going to spare him because it was his master, and he can't kill his master. That's like a rule. You can't kill your master. So he's like, that you turned out so good, and then he's like about to kill Jackie Chan, and he gets him in hold, and he's about to like do this. You've seen that in like kung fu movies, right? They do like this to their like collar, like they get their throat with their like fingers, and he's gonna do this, and Jackie Chan moves out of the way, and he goes, ugh! And then he like kills himself, and he like is that, and he kills himself. Since Jackie technically didn't kill him, he killed himself, so he didn't break the rules. Which is a pretty clever ending, and it was like really quick, so you didn't see it at first, so we thought like that he just like died randomly. We didn't see it at first, also probably because it was because of the shitty negative and the shitty VHS rip. But yeah. Then the movie, I don't think it had a freeze frame ending, did it? It didn't have a freeze frame ending, which kind of surprised me. I expected it to have a freeze frame ending, but it didn't. It kind of made me sad. This movie should have had a freeze frame ending. Every kung fu movie should have a freeze frame ending. That's just the principle. I enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it to any kung fu enjoyer. You know, any kung fu enjoyer fan, anyone. Not anyone. Not everybody's a kung fu fan. Yeah. You would enjoy this film if you like kung fu movies. I would call it a Jackie Chan classic. I mean, he didn't really say anything until the end of the movie, but, I mean, he was still great in it. It's Jackie Chan. Can't go wrong with Jackie Chan. And I would recommend it to any Jackie Chan fan, kung fu fan, action movie fan, you know, just fans of classics, you know, like classic action movies, that is. But, yeah, I would seek this out. And, yeah, I think I said what I need to say about the film, you know. I think, I rate this film, I give it a 7.5. I give this film a 7.5. I thought it was good. You know, so, thank you guys. Thanks for stopping by the temple. I really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting us, you know. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications on, share with your friends, comment down below on how much you enjoy your trip. And, I've been the Shaolin Kid, and Buddha be praised. Freeze from ending! Ha!